running in front of you guys. We are live. Hello, you guys. Hello, hello, hello. We are live today. We have a special guest. Her name is Dee. But before we get started, let me introduce myself. My name is Yvette Boone. I'm a recovering software engineer and a lifelong creative hobbyist and a plant enthusiast. And here on this channel, we create a safe space for Black women to incorporate creative hobbies into their wellness practice. And for us, it is definitely plants. And right now, definitely wellness. So you guys know I am all things plant and I want to incorporate more travel. And so we brought Dee on today so that she can talk about her combination of plants and travel. So I'm excited for this conversation. I from both angles, right? Not just as the plant mom, but as someone who wants to travel. One of the things that I think plant parents, we're concerned about the health of our plants. All of us love our plants to be beautiful, but in order for them to be beautiful, they need to be healthy. And so health is a huge thing. And so I know for me, I'm nervous about leaving my babies. Now, my children are grown now. So my new babies are these babies back here. So I want them to be nice and healthy when I travel. So before we get into this conversation, let me say hello to those that are in the chat. Hey, Mona, how are you? I'm so glad you made it today. So yeah, Mona is another YouTuber, a plant tuber here on YouTube. You guys, if you are not aware of her channel, please go check her out. Her channel is Plant Therapy. So yeah, we want to talk this whole idea of combining travel and plant care together, because that seems like an oxymoron, right? Like you go away and unless, the plants decide to take over the whole home, you come back to dead plants. And so I really want to get into this conversation. But before we get started, Dee, can you introduce yourself to my community in case they don't know who you are? Uh-oh, did you freeze? I can't hear you.
I unmuted myself. I'm acting brand new today. But yeah, so I'm Dee. Our channel is H&D Abroad. My husband and I are chronicling our process of leaving the US, but we're using things like house sitting as a part of our approach to scouting and giving us kind of that local view of what's available in the places that we want to live. I've learned a lot about my preferences, and it's actually helping me to segue my love of plants in the move abroad process. So I'm slowly letting go of my plant babies at home. Y'all, yeah, and our children, our youngest is 19, and so I've let my children go, but my plants, I mean, like they have my heart too. And I was like, if I have to give up my plants in the move abroad process, how can I incorporate what I know is so important to my mental health, to my physical health, and really makes me feel at home? Plants do that, and house sitting is helping me to kind of bridge that in our process. So that's me.
Nice. Okay, so first thing come to mind, I just spoiler alert. I sent Dee some questions that I knew that I wanted to send to her, but I'm not promising I'm gonna get to all of them. But the first thing I know I want to know about is your plant collection. So just, some high levels, like how many plants do you have? What kind of plants do you have? Like for me, I have a lot of common plants, and I have common plants because they bring me joy, right? Not only are they beautiful, but they are easy to care for, and I'm not stressing, right? So I kind of want to know, like, give me the rundown on your plant collection.
Okay, so I've had to keep it simple, especially now that I am house sitting. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Now that I'm house sitting more consistently, I really had to make sure if I was bringing in any plants that they were easy to maintain.
Right.
And so, um, yeah, so I have, yeah, I still propagate, and I'm on my way out the door. I'm giving away plants, but I cannot stop propagating. And so we have pothos plants. We've got golden pothos,
Mhm.
and I'm propagating them because I bought the initial plant with my mother-in-law, my husband's mom,
Mhm.
and now that she passed last year, and
Sorry.
that plant I have split that plant probably 8 times, and she just keeps giving. And I feel like I still want to do that. I can still do that. I've got a mason jar full of new cuttings. I have Monstera. Okay, this may be an emergency event. I'm so sorry. Give me just a moment.
That's fine. That's no problem. Okay. Hey, Mona. She was talking about pothos. I got mine. Ooh, did I move it? Oh, I have this baby here with me today. She's doing so much better now, and I got some new growth on my other propagation. So Dee was talking about propagations. And I will say, I think as far as traveling is concerned, that propagating your plants is the best hack ever. So if you don't have someone to come in and care for your plants while you're gone, you can always cut them, put them in water, and leave them there. And even if no one else comes in to watch your plants, or you don't have a backup plan, that could be the only plan that you have, and you can be gone for weeks because they'll grow and do fine in that water. So I absolutely love the hack of propagating your plants as you travel. Now, I did kind of want to show you guys. I don't have it here in front of me though. Oh, I can show you this one. Hold on. Look, look at her. Now y'all know I went through some stuff with this baby. This is my Diffenbachia sterling, and she got cut, and she has growth everywhere. So I'm excited about her. Now, to be fair, if I had to leave out of the house right now to travel, I would be a little nervous about this one. But I'm gonna tell you what I did when I traveled. I had a 6 week trip. I took a 6 week trip to Mexico in 2022, and I did have someone come in to care for my plants. She would come in and water my plants. But I had a couple of plants that I knew were problem child. And the ironic thing about this is that these were syngoniums, by the way. The syngoniums did better. They did better while I was traveling than they did when I got back home. So I put my syngoniums in a propagation box, and I'm not even sure if she watered them. I know she probably had to. But she would water them. If she watered them, I'm pretty sure she did. She would water them and put them back in the propagation box. And so they stayed in that propagation box for 6 weeks. And when I got them, they were in really small containers, and they did fine. So I mentioned the small containers because um, they would have needed to be watered every week. But I had them inside of a clear propagation box, and I had it near light. I had reduced my light quite a bit, so that's another travel hack. When I did travel, when I was traveling the streets and outside, the first thing I wanted to do was to reduce the light. I still wanted them to get some light because that's how plants, of course, get their food. So I wanted them to get some light, but I reduced the amount of light. I used my timers to reduce the light. I did not have my blinds open. So I closed my blinds, or at least I had them up so that you couldn't see in the house, but it would still filter light in. So it was a soft, like muted sort of light that came into the windows. And I pretty much pulled all of my plants in this room and gave them light from my grow lights or from my artificial lights. They got a little bit of sunlight, but not much. But the biggest hack altogether was definitely um, propagating my plants. I have, hmm, I think when I left, my exotica was sort of straggly. You know, if you don't watch them, they'll just grow real long tendrils and put like 3 or 4 leaves across the whole thing. So that plant was driving me bananas. So then what I did was I took and cut that up and put that in water. And when I got back, she was ready to be potted up. So that was a perfect segue for me, a hack, however way you want to call it. So yeah, I absolutely love using propagations to, you know, give me a way to save my plants or hold on to my plants when I travel. Plus, at the end of the day, if your plants do kind of decide they don't want to be here when you get back, you have those plants to kind of help you, those ones that are in the water, um, to help you replenish your collection again. One of the other travel hacks, I guess you could call it a travel hack, that I had was to beef my pots up. So as you can see back here in the back, and maybe I should bring, she's so heavy though. Um, is if you can take your plants and you can combine them and put your plants in bigger pots, they don't need to be watered as much. I have a jade pothos. I'm gonna go get her because why not? She is heavy though, y'all. Oh, or just big, right? She's just big. She looks so good. She looks good on camera. Let me see if I can hold her like you would your little 2-year-old. But for me, I took all of those propagations and I put her in this big, massive pot. She's huge. Look how big this pot is. Um, and because she's in this big pot and all of this, most of this is soil, because some of this down here at the bottom is I was about to say sphagnum moss, is styrofoam because I didn't feel like I wanted to fill the whole pot up with. So because she's in a bigger pot, her soil stays moist longer and she does not need to be watered as often. So that for me is another travel hack. Like getting my plants, which is why you notice that I have been pushing to get all of my plants merged into one pot. Like I've been doing a lot of consolidation. Even though I still love to propagate, I love to propagate and put them all together and have one pot. My goal is to not have duplicate pots of any plant. That would allow me to, you know, get allow this plant to do well if I wanted to take even a small vacay, like something like a week or 2 weeks. This plant has not been watered in 3 weeks. And as you see, she's good. Now she's getting close to that point where she needs to be watered. But she can go another week or so without watering, and she's not suffering at all. Now, I was just saying the other day that I wanted to see a little bit more growth on her. I think I could water her more often because I want growth. But as far as her not only surviving, but doing well with less water or not needing to be watered like every other day, put them in bigger pots. And I don't mean just put them in bigger pots. They need to be bigger plants. I see sometimes people potting their smaller plants in bigger pots. And for me, that has been disaster because I end up overwatering. So I don't do that. I try to get my plant as big as it can be so that I can actually uh, qualify putting it into a larger pot. I'm gonna set her right here because she cute. I can look at her while we chit chat for a little bit. So let me get in this chat. Yeah, I definitely. I mean, and it's not just for travel. If you are someone who has, maybe medical needs, or you're struggling with your mental health right now and you just need to take a break. All of these things allow you to have more ease when it comes to your plant parenting, because at the end of the day, you want your plants to be enjoyable. If they feel like a chore, it just sort of takes some of the joy out of it, right? Yes. Larger pots, larger pots. Now, sometimes you just can't help having a plant in a smaller pot. Like I have a jade, the fleshy, the regular jade. And now when I purchased her, it was in a smaller pot. Now I have been propagating her and doubling her for the last 2 years. She's really kind of getting big for her, but she's in a small pot. But because it's such a fleshy or succulent type plant, she can go a little bit longer without water than a regular plant would, or a regularly watered plant would. So I can do those in smaller pots. But even with those, my travel hack with that is to take those plants when you leave, water them well, and put them in a propagation box, and they will last a whole lot longer than if you didn't water them at all. But I will say, I think if I'm going to err on the side of anything, it would be to underwater than overwater. I almost said it backwards. So yeah, let me think. Now, I will say, I've been trying out a couple of things here. So I'm trying out um, it just escaped my mind. The Naked Roots Planner. So the Naked Root Planner allows you, it's sort of like, it's not self-watering, but it's sort of a bottom watering. And the way the plant pot is set up is that it has a lot of holes on it. And so it allows all the soil to sort of dry evenly, and it moistens evenly. Now, my Dieffenbachia is doing really good in that. And I'm going to show you in the next video coming up. Oh my gosh, she's really doing well. And that's my Dieffenbachia camouflage. I think, and this was my purpose for wanting to try these, is I think that they would make a good travel hack. And one, because you can, with the second thing that I have is an irrigation system. That irrigation system pushes out water to either your pots or or a bin at one time. And so it allows you to do it and schedule it. So if I had something like, not this, but if I had something bigger that could take water in every 2 weeks or something like that, then I can send water to it every 2 weeks, and I could literally be gone. And if you think about it, if you have a big enough reservoir, you can be gone for a good amount of time. So I think those are fantastic starters, if nothing else. Now, it does depend on what kind of plants you have in your collection. And to be fair, that's a travel hack all in itself. If you're going to choose plants like calatheas and petunias and plants anything with a at the end, no, I'm just joking. But, when you choose plants that need a lot of attention, which it makes our egos feel great, but it is not a good travel friendly plant. It also is not one that, if your mental health is challenged for any reason, if life be life and for you like it does with everybody else on the planet, then it just makes your plant parenting a little bit more difficult. So is everything okay?
It it will be
Okay.
as it will be.
Okay.
And so that is what I'm proclaiming. I apologize for the disruption, but I have the pathos as I was describing. I've sent you pictures of my monstera, which I propagated, and that was what I wanted to show you. Is after I propagated, and I was telling you she's not growing. I came back from this house and there's a growth. And my leads, my leads are all on the floor. So she is growing and glowing. And so that brings my heart peace. And then I kept one jade plant.
Okay.
And so I think the guys, my husband and my son, could keep up with these responsibilities. And I've done a couple of sits where they've done exactly what I've said, and I've done a couple of sits where my son was like, "They're not dead." And
So
so
that's
you just kind of have to say, like I love what you were saying about, being thoughtful about my real life and choosing
mhm,
my plants.
mhm,
Um, and so my approach is, as long as I water them well, especially leading up to,
mhm,
and then, before I leave, and usually I can go about 10-ish days, almost 2 weeks.
okay.
And so if he waters them one time and I'm gone a month,
Mhm.
then I apologize to them profusely, and then we get back on schedule. So, I mean,
Oh,
grace abounds on my side, the plants, and my family.
okay, so that is your travel hack when you want to travel, right? If you have someone else come in to water your plants, like say for instance you all go on a family trip together, what do you
Mhm.
do? What do you do then?
Let's see, usually I put them all in the bathtub.
Mhm.
What I've learned so much from your channel. I was just like, maybe together they can share a little bit of share a bit of love together, share a little bit of humidity, share a little
Mhm.
bit of that together. So I've had them droop some.
Mhm.
I know that I'm going to have a little bit of plant loss, but even when we've gone as long as 3 weeks away together, like when we did our residency in Mexico,
Mhm.
they I did the, water in, put them in, try to put them as much together. And mine are mostly in smaller pots. Oh, I forgot to mention my rubber plant. I'm sorry, baby. It was like she was peeking around the corner saying, "You forgot me." I bought the rubber plant in honor of my dad. I had no idea my dad loved he was the one that brought in the plants, the snake plant, the rubber plant, because I have asthma. And so
Mhm.
his mother had those plants in her home. And when he and my mom got married, he bought them and cared for them. So I bought a rubber plant for my house as well. And they all tend to be, I mean, even though I didn't plan out, they all
Mhm.
tend to be plants that if I can put them, with a catcher base at the bottom, water them, they tend to do okay for, definitely less than a month, 2 weeks. And then you're kind of getting in that. I'd prefer to have some water and, we drooping, but we know you're going to come back. You're not going to forget us, mama, are you?
Right.
So
Right. I mean, at that point, they're a little stressed, but they're not stressed to the point of damage, right?
correct.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, so tell us a little bit more about your collection. I know you're sort of streamlining it down a little bit now so that you guys can be out.
Yes. So Thanksgiving, I was like, I know we're going to be gone in a year. And there are a couple of episodes on our channel where I've talked to plant people and been like, okay, so how did you let go? And they were just like, I started with people that I knew that I could trust with doing the basic things. And so because I had so many pothos, Thanksgiving, we had probably about 20 people over, family members that knew my mother-in-law. And so I created, broke the plants up. And so as their gift, that was a part of our gift to our guests. Even my son and his girlfriend got one, and he was like, "So you wanted to die?" I was like, "Call it your love plant. The day that you all started dating, this is how you can remember your month anniversary. Water this plant, water your relationship." So they've been together a year, and it was fun. He brought it back and was like, "Ma, it's still growing." So I'm slowly giving those things away, even though I'm still propagating.
Mhm.
And then I've seen people selling their Monstera cuttings.
Mhm.
Um, I'm of the heart to probably give them away, but they've grown so much. I might have to see if there's a combination. So
Mhm.
Facebook Marketplace has been a great way to just say, hey, would you like to come get some cuttings? Or my like a grouping of two leaves of monsters, like $5. Like this isn't a get rich quick. It's just, hey, if you know how to take care of this plant, or you're interested in trying, here's a try plant for you. I've loved it, and I'm hoping that you will too. So that's kind of been my approach in getting ready, is slowly letting them go, slowly finding homes, trustworthy homes, something that I feel like if I gave it away, these are low maintenance plants anyway. Give them a little sunlight, some consistent water.
Mhm.
I talk to my plants. My husband says so I tell them little tidbits of things to do that might make the plant journey more interesting, or at least doable. Um,
Mhm.
and so those are the approaches that I've taken. The bigger plants, like I'm just learning how to propagate the rubber plant,
Mhm.
um, and
Mhm.
it's not as complicated as I thought it might be. So I probably will take that same approach with my dad's side of the family, is sharing that plant with them, in the hopes that that's just like what do you call that? Family history. This
Mhm.
is a way to share that out with other family members
I think that's
as
a
a
beautiful
memorial.
idea. I really, really, really like that idea. Although, yeah, I have a lot of people in my family that love plants. So it would be easy to give them plants, but it would be nice to share, because a shared plant is a different thing, right? When
Mhm.
someone gives you a piece of their plant, that feels different. I ain't crying up here today. We're not doing that.
Okay.
I don't even know why I'm so full about that, but I am. It's a beautiful thing. I really think, because it's like you giving that person a piece of you, right? But no
Absolutely.
pressure. Like, literally say no pressure. If the
Yes.
plant dies, it's not, you're not killing me.
It has meaning, but just to let you know why I'm sharing it, but never the guilt. Never the guilt.
Right,
Um,
right, right. Okay, so look, I want to know, because I'm approaching this from two angles. I'm approaching
mhm.
this as someone who is interested in in house sitting and would
Yes.
love to find house sits that have exclusive plants, maybe? Or
100%.
okay, okay, let's talk about it.
I was so excited when you and I were talking, and I started sending you the girl. You need to get this plant only scent. Nobody wants them. So okay, so I use the Trusted House Sitters platform.
Okay.
We've been with Trusted House Sitters a little over a year.
Mhm.
It allows, let's see, so the reasons why I love the Trusted House Sitters platform, there are a lot of people in my Move Abroad community that use it, that could answer a lot of my really basic entry level questions.
Mhm.
Um, but a lot of people weren't into plants. And when I started this, it was during the pandemic, and most plant mamas were not they weren't as dominant on the platform as they are now. When I say dominant, I mean more of them. So there were just a few as we were coming out of the pandemic, but now there are a lot more that are exclusively come water my plants and do some, and this is indoor and outdoor plants.
Okay, okay.
And then you can filter for that. So I usually um, that's what I do, is you can set it up to get alerts for that happening. And um, I've seen the number of those increase in
Wow.
the 2 years that I've been following, but a little over a year since I've been actively a plant sitter, or recognizing my joy and investing in
Mhm.
that plant opportunity.
Okay, so okay, so my brain is like, oh, it's just so. What? what kind of plant collections have you seen? Like when you go into someone's home, and they want you to care for their plants, are you caring for exotic plants or common plants, big collections? Just give me some idea of what kind of plant collections you have been caring for.
Let's see. So it might be easiest to talk about like summer plants and then like year round indoor. They go indoors and outdoors,
Oh,
potted plants.
okay.
So my outdoor plants are usually, things like bushes, shrubs, a
Mm,
lot of potted, is it y'all, perennials?
okay, okay, okay. The ones that
And so, yeah, so I mean, these are plants. Let's see. So I just did plant it in Colorado, which is a much higher elevation. So they need water pretty regularly. It got hot and dry. It gets hot and dry, almost like desert dry. And so I
wow.
was watering the lawn and watering their potted plants because they tend to dry out faster.
Yes.
They are the expectation, and we can talk about the interview, when you're interviewing for the house that if you're chosen. But
Yes.
one of the things that I asked was, i- do you have high dollar plants
Mm,
in your home? And everybody that I have house sat for says no, they're not necessarily high dollar value. Those folks bring in a gardener. They bring in someone that is a plant specialist that they have worked with, that knows that plant's rhythm, their feeding plant, their plant food schedule and things like that. Um, and so it's really like really common. Oh goodness, I wish I knew all the names of them because I don't. And that's okay. What I want to know most of all is I take a picture of anything. Probably the most exotic thing indoor plant that I've taken care of is an orchid.
okay.
Um, and because a lot of people tend to have succulents in their home, jades in their home, things that I'm really familiar with, that as long as you're on a once a week is typically the indoor plants. Probably the
Mm,
most intensive is, hey, if it's over 90 degrees, could you water the outdoor
right,
plants every day?
right.
And so a lot of them are in, what do you call that, hanging baskets,
Mhm.
or they are, what do you call that, flower beds.
Okay, okay. Uh-huh.
And so I just make sure that they're well watered.
Mhm.
And I ask the homeowner, the plant mama or daddy,
Mhm.
what does well watered look like for you?
Okay,
So,
okay.
I mean, I'm literally just translating. I'm not waiting until a plant looks sick,
Big,
but I
right.
need to know, what does overwatered look like?
Mm,
From your perspective, what does underwatered look like? And
okay.
so if I'm staying on that schedule and it deviates, like I'm watering it just like you said every day, and
Mhm,
some things go sideways, I will send a photo and a
mhm,
message. What do
mhm.
you want me to do?
Okay. All right. So, have you ever encountered when you come in the door that there are some sick plants? They're already sick or they're already looking sort of, ugh.
Well, let's see. So the largest plants have been, oh goodness, they've had some trees in their living room. Like
Okay.
I would see this normally outside and it's inside, or they've let some of their, what I would have seen as like a countertop kind of plant,
Mhm.
like a rubber plant, actually grow to be like
Uh,
really large.
uh-huh.
And so, yeah, those have been a little bit more. They're shedding. I'm
Uh,
watching their shed rate. And
okay.
so if there are more leaves than normal. So I'm watching, what is their leaf drop rate. So I've been able to sit with this the couple that I'm going to go sit for in August, I've been with them through the winter time into the summer, and
Mhm.
I was like, okay, so I was seeing a lot more uh, leaf release in the
Mhm.
wintertime, but during the summertime, it wasn't as much. And
Okay.
so, yeah, so I don't know. So I'm just that those are the things that I watch for. If there's any growth, like
Okay.
mushrooms or something like that, then I'm like, okay, so we got a little bit of extra moisture here.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna I'm gonna adjust the schedule to
Mhm.
see if maybe it needs a couple of days instead of an everyday water like they've suggested.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, just kind of taking a look at what is the plant telling me. I mean, it's the same thing we would do
Yeah.
with our home plants. And then I almost want to start a little hotline when I get a little bit more education. Is if you've got questions, where do you go? What do you do? And a lot of us have the apps
Right.
that'll tell us what's going on, and so that's what we've added to the toolkit. Is some of those. If I have a question, I've never cared for this plant before, and the plant host
Mhm.
instructions don't cover something that I have a question on, I do have that to rely on.
Okay.
But we listen to plants. What are you telling? Hey, darling,
Okay.
what you
I
telling me,
like
baby,
that.
today?
I like that. So tell me a little bit more about how you interview them and what instructions they leave for you.
Right. So I do ask. Let's see. I ask about the plants, how long they've had them in the home, if they've done anything, brand new. Is this a cutting? Is this a but I also ask to see the plants. And
Mm,
so usually I'm not booking a house sit more than maybe a month or two
okay.
in advance. And
Mhm.
so we know things can go
Crazy.
differently. You talk about indigenous pests. And so
Mhm.
I do ask, hey, do you have any common pest?
Mhm.
Um, uh, and and so the interview is really asking what their care is.
Mhm.
I ask for instructions to be written down because I don't want to have to call them over and over to
Right.
to get reminded. And a welcome kit is really what hosts are asked to do to for it to kind of be
Seamless for
I
them.
am in agreement with the responsibilities when I accept the sit.
Mhm.
And then I ask for a video, so a
Okay.
video walkthrough. Some people are a little jittery about doing that in the interview stage. If we are, what I say is, if you would prefer not to show me, your plants now, if I'm selected, I will ask for a walkthrough because some of my, us. I
Mhm.
have never I probably have never met a plant I don't like. And
Right.
so one will lead to 20 in a hot minute. And so, thinking about the responsibilities, you want to kind of have a real grasp of, do
Right.
you have a jungle? Am I coming into, or it's not quantity, it's the size of. And so thinking about this couple I sat for, their whole sunroom. I mean, like the path was this, I could scoot sideways through. And I can't remember what's the prickly plant that can grow into like a tree. They had several of those, and I ouched my way through.
A cactus?
No, 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 no,
Oh,
no. This it looks like the palm trees in Florida.
oh, it probably is
They're
a palm.
prickly.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
probably is
So
a palm.
like I was like, okay, that's the first time, but it's a huge pot. And
Ooh,
we just learned to work together. I was like,
yeah.
I don't want to poke you, and I please don't poke me. But and then we've been able to see when they've brought them out after spring. We've that's what I love is a lot of times when they know you're a good plant person, they'll ask you to come back. Like, you
Right.
know my babies, I'm gonna have you come back. You're reliable. You
Right.
know, I haven't come back to plants that have been harmed or ignored. And so, yeah, so uh, that is usually in the interview. I ask how much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Sometimes it's down to is this 12 cups? You know, is it, what are the do's and don'ts around the plants? Do you want me to turn on and off your grow lights?
Mm-hmm.
Anything that is important to your plant care that you normally do, my job is to replicate. My job is not to heal your plants because I'm a plant person, and I want to protect your plants.
Right.
I don't want to be the plant killer. I want to be the plant doula.
I know that's
And so, as much as you can, just give me the routine that you normally. And I want to replicate that. I want to see what plants you have, and and ask questions that I know could be a trigger. If you've got a lot of plant insects, or
Mm-hmm.
there was instructions that one of them gave, somebody must have done it. So they took the water from the base,
Mm-hmm.
um, and put it in other plants. And I was like, but non-plant people may just say water is water, and you
Right.
could be transporting something. So, if they've done this before, if they haven't done it before, letting them share, I think is the most letting them share their routine and their do's and don'ts are the most important.
Now, have you ever seen anyone that has like a system that was new to you, like whether they had, an irrigation system or a watering system or anything that was like, I never thought about that before.
Soaker hoses. I had never used outdoor soaker hoses before. Uh, Life changing. I've seen some things that you've had on, that I was just like, you mean I could like use a what is it, the moss pole? I was like, y'all changing my life. So even if it's not, I might even make some suggestions,
Mhm, mhm.
but yeah, that's probably the soaker hose has been revolutionary for my plant knowledge, my plant journey,
Mhm.
um, because and then it's not necessarily been a tool, but I've not lived in a place that is doing water conservation. And
Mm,
so some of the things that people are doing are really, I think everybody, even if you're not in a water shortage area, that are good watering
right.
practices
Yeah.
that have been introduced to me, in places like California and Colorado, and the southwestern U.S. They're doing some really innovative things and then just being exposed to how to care for
Right. Oh, yeah, yeah.
regional plants as well,
Yeah.
has been something that I've learned to really appreciate,
Mhm,
and to see how they thrive so much better
mhm.
than bringing in plants that are not indigenous to the area.
Right. So what about like any kind of weird, I'm saying weird, but weird like things that I don't want to say wouldn't normally see, but like things that are probably more natural than chemical, like different things that you can add to your plants or supplement your soil with, anything that's sort of like, I before I started caring for orchids, I never knew to put cinnamon on a wound of a plant, right? I was like, why would I? And then I'm doing research and I'm like, what? Like, but then you think about it, a more natural approach, like plants have been living way longer than we have. So
Absolutely.
that they went around sprinkling cinnamon on that stuff, but I mean, the fact that we could use something natural to
Hmm.
do chemically. And so I will say me, I get used to doing things a certain way and not remember that the natural way could work too, right? Like peppermint and cinnamon are good deterrents for bugs, right? So
Yes.
have you ever ran across any kind of different like things that might be helpful in your everyday indoor plant care?
Let's see. So the indoor plant care has been pretty standard. It's just a standard watering schedule. They usually don't have me add plant food. Either they will add it before they leave because it's long. Most of the time, it's long acting.
Okay,
It's
okay.
the outdoor plant combinations that have been really interesting to me. So, one of the shorts on my channel is about the bear that came into the front yard.
Hold up.
I
Did I
am
hear
outdoorsy, but
more?
baby, a bear outside. I was inside the house. Outside was they had a bird feeder that they filled. They were like, we only fill it every like 3 weeks. But the bear wanted to get inside of it. And so I knew they did kind of forewarn me. Bears, turkeys, deer are common in our area
Mm.
because of where we were. And we live in peace, is what they said. So I what happened this year was the deer came like up to the window and was eating in the plant bed. And I was like, what are you? They had antlers as a part of their gardening area. And what
Uh-huh.
she said was, I thought that they were coming to eat the plants. The deer were coming to eat the plants. No, she had planted marigolds as a natural deterrent
Oh.
to the deer coming to eat the plants. I think she said she had some pansies out and for Mother's Day, and she was like, "I did not make that as your lunch."
They were like, thanks for the
Came and ate the whole thing. And so she was like, "So I planted marigolds because they are a natural deterrent." So
I know that.
everybody, I would not have known that.
No.
But yeah, they were there to chew on the antlers and left her beautiful potted plant mix
Okay.
alone. And so that's probably the one thing that I was just like, I was
That
not ready for that.
oh,
We have cows near me, but we don't have no deer that walk up to my kitchen window.
yeah, I do have deer. And I've had them, just like wander through my backyard like, hey girl. And they go about their business and
You
they
don't
might.
bother them, they don't bother you.
Yeah, but I don't have any outdoor plants. I think if I had some, because my back is backed up against the woods, my back and my side.
Mhm.
So I'm pretty sure if I had one plant with one leaf, they probably would be like, thank you for the lunch. But I was like, go on about your business. But I have seen some garanimals. I've seen some stuff out here. Ooh, child. But
Yeah, yeah.
okay,
A good host will kind of warn you that
yes, you
that
raised
those possibilities exist. And so, I just govern myself, before I go outside, I look, that I come back indoors a little bit early so that my shadow, or the shadows that I'm seeing, that I know that is, supposed to be there and not
Mhm.
something that I would be a little unnerved by seeing. So, because I was walking from there's a trail, and
Mhm.
I was walking back, and two bear siblings were just tussling in the front yard of a neighbor. I was like,
We're not talking
this is
bears.
all new. It's all new.
We're not talking bears. I, mm, okay.
Yep.
I'm breaking down. Like my whole program is shutting down. Like, mm-mm.
But ask those questions because as much as we are wanting in the house sitting space
Mhm.
to be available and to be like in an interview. Yes, I want your job, but I'm interviewing you as well. I'm interviewing your environment. You know, are the responsibilities something that I feel like could fit into the other things that I want to do as a part of this experience?
Right.
And so I knew pets, that was way too much responsibility. Like
Okay.
you asking for food, you want to play, you want to sit on my lap. That was just too much. Plants,
Okay.
we can sing, we can talk, I can give you your water, your whatever you need, and then you go about your business, and so will I. And
So
so I knew that that was what was compatible with how I wanted to have that house sitting experience, which is just exchanging
mhm,
I'm getting free accommodations
mhm.
for agreeing to do a set of responsibilities that the host has written and we have agreed to.
I love that. Okay, so tell me a little bit more about the accommodations, like the setup. Like, how long are you staying? Are these like really nice homes, or and how do you choose those homes? Like, are you I'm assuming that you probably don't have as many options as if you were looking after a cat or a dog, right?
You got options. Like I
Okay.
said, they are continuing to grow. More and more people are finding that, hey, I would prefer to have someone come in and care for my plant, you know, because either family, friends is not, they are not available or not trustworthy to come in. They don't know about plants, and I really want a plant person to come in.
Mhm,
And so I think what I would do is to go to the Trusted House Sitter website and just see. You can use the filter to sort to see what's available. The homeowners will have photos
mhm,
of their home,
mhm,
and so everybody lives in a different kind of house. I have stayed in some very, very nice locations,
mhm,
you know, like, within proximity of DC. I've stayed in some pretty rural locations like I did in Colorado, where some is just like a cozy home.
mhm.
Um, and some that have been like, people really live like this. Take a look, take a look at the pictures. People, we interviewed some couples, and the gentleman said, I at least want the house to be at the level in which I live my how I live, how my home is. And so you can set that as a personal expectation. Hey, I like a very modern home, or I'm okay with a comfortable family home.
Okay.
Um, some people are in a one bedroom apartment or studio apartment,
Mhm,
where, if you're okay with sleeping on someone else's bed, then that is it. Some people have guest rooms, and so the house sitters tend to stay in the guest room. And
okay.
so, using that as a part of your personal criteria, I would literally just go through, and see what the variety of opportunities look like. Sometimes you develop a preference by what's actually the reality of what is
Right.
available. So I'm pretty, as long as it's clean, if the home
Mhm,
is, is clean. Some
mhm,
people have housekeepers that come in once a week and clean. Those are different things. But I usually start with, what are the responsibilities?
mhm.
And then I look at the sitter reviews, and we can talk about that later. But that is another way to kind of vet, is this a really good match for me? Because, hey, I'm coming in as a guest. What are other guest house sitters saying about the
Right.
responsibilities, about the living, environment? And then I definitely take a look at the pictures. They Trusted House Sitters has an app,
Mhm,
which makes it super convenient when you've got everything ready to go and you want to apply for a house sit,
mhm,
instead of, and you can set notifications,
mm.
but you can also have access, of course, on the web, on the internet. And it may be better when you're going to confirm a house sit, that you pull it up on the computer so that you've got that larger view of more than just this is a pretty house on the outside, or you've shown me some of your plants.
Mhm.
I'm really wanting to, look at what the home environment and the plant environment looks like, so that I know that visually that is a match.
Mhm.
And then you can always get interviewed and
Mhm.
say yes and
Mhm.
say no, um,
Okay.
based on that interaction. So I've taken a look at the pictures, I've read the responsibilities, I've verified, the things that you've written, and to make sure that I know what is expected of me. You've done a video. What do you call that? They walked me through their house with Zoom or whatever, so that I could see their plants and see their
Right.
plant care.
Mhm.
Um, and then you say yes, and then the
Mhm.
countdown begins to get wherever they are in the country. A lot of people start locally. Uh,
Mhm.
it's nice when you can find a local house sit that is in a short driving distance from where you live,
Mhm.
especially when you're starting out.
Yeah.
But my first house sit was 2 time zones away. So
Okay.
I knew I was going to have to fly. Uh,
Mhm.
and and so you try to leverage as much as you can with the printed information and your interview. And then sometimes it's, you don't know what you don't know.
Right. You learning
Trying to
as you
be
go.
nice about that. You don't know what you don't know. And then
Right.
also you begin to develop preferences. I really like a house that I
Right.
really like when plant parents, do have this set up, you know,
Right.
uh,
Mhm.
in whatever ways for their plant care. Um, or they've got a gardener that does the outside
Mhm.
things. They do weed eating. Well, do I want to weed your plants? I don't know. I mean, how much of a responsibility is that? Do I
Right.
want to cut grass? That is also, I consider grass lawn care as a part of, a lot of them do. Lawn care as a part of the plant responsibilities. And so are you open to that? And you were talking about equipment. I'd used my first electric lawnmower,
Oh,
which has made me tell my husband we're buying an electric lawnmower, because I had that experience house sitting.
nice.
So
Okay, so
yeah,
have you had any international, um, houses?
let's see. So there are so many plant only international house sits. They're not as many as are in the US, but they are growing. I have not done them yet, because what I have found, at least from the feedback that I've gotten from owners, is they like people who are currently in country. And there are a lot of people who are outside of the country, either as digital nomads, that are getting those. But the other people are saying, go for it. And that's the beauty of it. No has never damaged my personal
Right,
self-image.
right.
But international plant only sits do exist. Australia is where I'm trying. Australia, New Zealand, I'm stalking their pages to do an international house sit
Okay,
in those
okay,
locations.
okay. So how long have you been doing this? I think you told me, right?
I've been doing it for a year. Most of my
Okay.
house sits are 30 days or more. I've done a few that were like a week or two.
Mhm.
Some people want somebody for 2 days. That, I mean, if they are close, then that's not a problem. But like,
I guess I'm in the
you've
mindset
got
that
that variety.
if my plant needs some care within 2 days, then I'm probably not gonna have that plant. But,
Maybe they just want someone in the house. That's what I'm finding
yeah,
is people are nervous about squatters, and things like that. So they want their home to appear to be lived in.
yeah.
And so if you're even if they have plants and they're saying I'm on the website for plants, but they really just want someone that's been vetted. So you complete a background check, the homeowners complete a background check. And so I just want someone trustworthy in my home.
Mhm.
That's usually why they're on that
Is
platform.
this something that you would consider doing with your own home?
We have talked about it. Our son is here.
Mhm.
And like I said, I got forgiving plants. And
Mhm.
so if we were gone for longer than a month,
Mhm.
house sitting is a great just, hey, can you just help me maintain?
Right.
Probably not long, not a long term,
Okay.
because I'd probably rather go ahead and let my plants go
Mhm.
and just have someone rent it versus having a house sitter here. But
Right.
I'm glad to know that house sitting
It's for
for plants or for your home does exist because it gives me one more option in that move abroad plan.
right. And I think, too, it all depends on where you are in your life. Like for me right now, my house is like it's very volatile. I could sell it tomorrow, right? Like I don't have to have a home here. My kids are grown. My reasoning for needing to plant really firm roots have grown up and they buy their own houses now. So,
Correct.
at this moment, it's like the right offer came. I'm like, yes, please. And right, I'm not looking for that, but I think, just because of where I am in my life right
Yes.
now, I wouldn't even think hard about needing to go in that direction because I'd be like, we could sell. Like I could be done with this. So I totally get that. Okay. Let me see. What did I want to know? Let me look and check the chat. You're a little quiet today. Um, so you told me about your routine as far
Mhm.
as like you interviewing them and them. Okay, if I wanted to plant sit, if I wanted to
Mhm.
house sit and probably go exclusively plants, what kind
Yes.
of advice would you give me to get started?
I would, like I said before, I would go ahead and check out the Trusted House Sitters website.
Okay.
They allow you to look at available house sits. I'm not sure if the filter feature where you can look for no pet house sits
Oh, okay.
or plant only sits.
Mhm.
I don't know if you can filter, but I know that you can take a look and it gives you kind of a good overview of the kinds of opportunities, the locations for those opportunities. And then
Mhm.
this is a really good time. So summer, think about when you would take a vacation.
Okay.
Summers are going to be super popular. The
Mhm.
holidays are preparing, getting ready to come up.
Mhm.
And so I would go ahead and do the thing. So it takes maybe when I did it, I'll say it that way. When I did it, it took about 24 to 48 hours,
Okay.
24 to 72 hours. Why don't we just give that time frame?
Mhm.
Once you purchase your membership, you
Mhm.
want to build your profile
Okay.
because as we're getting, people are starting to put their November, December, January house
Mhm.
sits on the platform, and you want to already be in the system, have your background check completed, and be ready from that perspective. And
Mhm.
then the other thing that's a part of our toolkit is have your letter, if you have found a house sit and
Mhm.
you have completed the process and you're ready to go, have your invitation letter to a potential person
Mhm.
available to literally copy and paste and apply
Okay. Okay.
because popular locations go very quickly.
Okay. Okay.
You favorite locations that, hey, this is a plant only. This is a place I've always wanted to visit. I'm using trusted house sitters to visit
Mhm.
family before we move abroad. So that's why I was saying, Colorado, California, New York. I'm saying goodbye to family and friends through house sitting,
Okay.
these house sitting opportunities. So when that perfect match of dates or location comes available, I want to be ready to put in my information, press send. And because usually they only take about maybe 5
Okay.
house sitter applications. So you want to
Oh,
be ready. You
oh,
want to be ready to go.
okay, okay. And so if you are married, do you have to apply with your husband, or how do you do that where if you want to go solo, how does that work?
So, on the advice of my sisterhood of house sitters, they said if they're, let's see, so I put pictures of me and plants, my plants,
Exactly.
on the website so they can see I can care for healthy plants. Um, and, if when I apply for pet sits, I have pictures of our dog. She is no longer here, but so that they know that I have that history. I have pictures with my husband so that they know if I'm applying that I may bring my husband. Some
Okay.
sits I've done with him, some sits I've done alone. And so unless the homeowner says, and some of them will say, 2 people, we would prefer 2 people because of the responsibilities or whatever the reason for that preference. But I put that there so that it's not a surprise if I say my
Right.
husband is coming with me in the interview. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Oh, that's good to know. Okay, so how much does the application cost? Like if I'm wanting to get involved, is it a fee for the person that is house sitting, or is it a fee for the person who needs a house sitter?
Let's see. So the house host will pay a fee to post their um, to list their property.
Okay.
I pay a fee to stay. So they're trusted house sitters, but they do what I feel like they do a good job. They have an entry level um, membership, and then
Okay.
they have a premium membership. And
Okay.
there's some, there are advantages and disadvantages to both of them. I was okay with getting the basic membership, and I don't know if you want to make this an evergreen because they could go up on the price. Sometimes they also
Okay.
have
Gotcha. So they will have it on
discount.
their website. Yeah. Okay.
Right, but yeah, you do pay to be a member to apply to house sits. It's for a year.
Okay.
And typically, if you think about what does it cost to stay in a hotel for one day when you're going on a trip?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, I'm looking for something that's $150 a day. If I'm paying less than that, it's because I'm using some kind of discount code, some kind of senior discount. I mean, I'm getting up in age, but for the most part, I mean, when you consider if I took a trip for 2 days, that is going to be less than what even the premium
Right.
trusted house sitter membership
Okay.
gives to me.
Okay.
So for less than $300, you'll be able to get their basic or even their premium membership.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Tell me a little bit more about your toolkit. You have a toolkit to get people started so that they can sign up for house sitting?
Right. So our August newsletter on H&D Abroad is all about plant doing our plant sitting, and we talk about how we're using plant sitting as a part of our scouting and our research for
Okay.
where we want to move abroad and the kind of environment that really speaks to us.
Mhm.
And then just some basic checklist for what to ask in an interview. What are some things that you might want to put in your profile? And then after, if you don't get our August newsletter, that's okay. We are making that newsletter into a full toolkit. So we'll have the plant sitter toolkit that'll be available, and you can grab it by just signing up on our website. So yeah, so I was supposed to have sent you the link and I did not. So it will be hopefully in your description, but
Okay.
you can go to the H&D abroad, the letter H, AND, and then DEE, because I'm D, abroad on YouTube, and newsletter is where folks can sign up for that and grab the plant sitter toolkit.
I got married to have stuff in my way. No, full way. I don't have a lot of space here.
Oh,
But
and
mhm.
the 25% discount for new
Ooh,
members.
nice. Okay, yes. So if you sign up for these newsletters, this is her channel. I think I did that right.
Yes,
That's her channel. And you're saying go to your channel. There will be a link there so that they can sign up
in
for
the
the newsletter.
description, right?
Get the newsletter. They will also be able to get a discount code for signing up for Trusted House Sitters.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, is there anything that I have not covered that you wanted to let the community know about?
Well, what I probably when we were initially talking about house sitting together is the amount of nervousness people have, either with being in someone's home and caring for their plants. We value our plants. We highly value our plants, and what does it mean to care for someone else's plants?
Mm-hmm.
Um, the most important thing is to get started, is to go ahead and get out there, because you don't know what you don't know, but you also won't have that opportunity available to you if there's always uh, you know a reason for why you can't do it. A local sit is an easy access point. A
Mm-hmm.
short house sit is a great entryway to, hey, I have a week.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can let me try this for a week. If I like it, then I can do it for a longer period of time. The Trusted House Sitter platform and who is coming, online is growing continuously. And I think it's opening a lot of doors, but all these great things exist, but
Right.
if people don't take advantage of them. And so that's what I think is, just go ahead, sign up, um, and take your first house sit. There is a house sitting chat, a chat for house sitters, where
Mm-hmm.
you can ask questions as a member. And so you're not, a lot of what we feel like is new, we feel like we have to do alone. And there are communities that you can join so that you can to be a part of a group of folk and have those folks as a reference when you're trying something new. So I want more folks to get out there. Plants are life. I'm
Yes.
getting exposed and getting comfortable with new kinds of plants that I
Right.
haven't cared for before. And I think that variety enriches my life, and I think I can help someone else. And I think that's my personal nature, is to be helpful. This helps people to get reprieve. There was a couple that she was caring for her mother
Mm.
that had cancer, and she was going away, but she had plants at home. And so she was taking her respite, and I was able to help her to do that. I just think we've got, there's so much goodness in the world, and house sitting is helping me to attach to that. I hope more folks will consider just get
Yeah,
started.
and it's a gateway to other things. Like if you think about the possibilities of what plant sitting, house sitting, however way you want to call it, what it opens up. It allows you to travel, like you said, it allows you access to plants that you probably would never have access to. It allows that person to leave. If I'm leaving someone to my plants, it allows me to leave and get some time away. It's so if I wanted to open, a lot of us, and I say us meaning people who are in the plant community, they
Mhm.
so many plants they want to sell them, right? This gives you access to more plant community. This gives you access
Yes.
to more plants. It gives you access even just to open yourself up to see what different plants grow in different regions and all these. It's
Mhm.
one of those things that even though I haven't tried it, I really feel like it is an opportunity to spread your wings and to kind of like, and expand yourself, right? It's to me, if I can't expand myself doing something, then it's probably not worth doing, right? I mean, if it's not a little scary and a little cringy, then am I gonna do it? Probably not. Like this, literally, you are my first guest. I wanted to say thank you for that. You are my
Yay.
first guest on my and trust me, cringy, scary, scary, like armpit sweaty, scary, right?
I,
But you
there are places in Mexico we have residency that I've just been like, oh, I didn't even know that existed. I mean, like, now I have a reason to go to that place
mhm,
because I can plant it. I don't,
right.
it lowers my cost. And
Yes,
so, and then it gives me exposure to that area.
yes.
And then, like you said, there are plants I couldn't afford to buy.
Okay. And it might be some you might realize, I thought I wanted that until I got here. Now I know I want no parts of that. Okay. I want none of that smoke. Okay. So yeah,
100%, 100%.
I have love plants. You know that. But there are some plants that I love that other people have. I
Mhm.
love that you have them. I don't want to have them. There are plants that I have always thought were underrated, but I was like, I really don't need snake plants, even though I struggle with snake plants. Let me tell you, snake plants and cast iron plants and those kinds of plants, they don't care. They like cats. They don't care if you leave, go, bye, do your thing. I don't care. Right? They survive so much nicer than some of these plants that we love that 3 days gone and they like, girl, I'm done. Like this piece of like here, after about 10 days, she like, girl, and I'm not coming back.
I was like, oh, so you've got some divas. That's what I call those plants, some
Oh,
diva plants.
baby. Now we cleaned house recently within the last year. And I did roll call and I was like, if there ain't but one diva in this house. And if you don't know who it is, you on the first list to go.
You're at the top of the list. Okay.
Okay, you just volunteered to leave. And baby, when I tell you they was volunteering left and right, and I was like, choop, choop, just throwing them out. Cause I'm like, I can't be bothered. I love
Yeah.
you, you're beautiful. I know you'll find someplace else to spread your little wings, but you can't do it here. So I would think that would give me my opportunity to care and love on those plants. So like babies, you love them up until they poop, and then you be like, all right, time to go back to your mama.
No, go back to your mama.
Go back to your mama. So this has been amazing, Dee. Thank you again for
Oh,
coming
thank you
and being
so
my very
much.
first guest.
Your
Oh,
audience is so kind. I know that as a 50 plus woman, my tolerance for a lot of risky adventures is diminishing, but house sitting is not one of those. I have grown a lot. I have made some beautiful people connections, not just plant connections as a part of this process. So like you said, if you're ready to grow, if you're ready to, spread your wings in a new way, I think house sitting is an excellent path to doing that. And thank you so much for letting me share my plant journey, my timid plant journey with you. That has paid dividends in my life because plant
right.
people want other plant people
Okay. And
to
who'd have
care.
thunk? Who'd have thunk something as simple as loving a plant would give you access to different parts of the world?
Look,
That
my
is crazy.
grandmother I said she didn't have a green thumb. She had a whole green body. And I didn't think that I had picked much up from her,
Right.
but apparently I did.
Mhm.
And those things that you take for granted as well, everybody knows, you
No,
know, when a plant is drooping, they need some water.
no,
Everybody should know, look under the leaves every once in a while to see why there's a whole hole here that wasn't here the day before. Like, people want what we take for
yes,
kind of for granted, the information that we have, either intentionally curated or because we are plant people, we gather that knowledge and bring it forward. It is an asset, and something that, like you said, can help us leverage access to different parts of the world, different environments.
right.
So, and to be a salve for some of us that are letting go of our plants because for a variety of reasons. It's healing. It's healing that part of me because I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss having my own plants.
Yeah, I'm gonna pray for you because while I'm praying for myself because I'm really struggling with that. But I know what the whole process. Just thinking about it makes me a little nervous.
Yes.
It makes my heart skip a beat a little bit, but you know, I think the outcome is going to be worth it. And there are plants all over the world. I could buy new plants.
Look, I went to Spain and I was looking for where are the plant
They
nurseries.
got
What
propagation,
can I replace? Can I just one for one?
right?
And trust me, there are plants I've never. The varieties that you have gotten and flown in, we can now get them locally.
Yes,
To go through customs for our babies. So it,
exactly.
it, it is, as one door closes, more will open. What are you open
Yes, I love that. I love that sentiment. Well,
to? Mhm.
I don't see. Thank you, Mona. I don't see any
Thank
questions
you.
in the chat, so I think we're finished. We wrapped it up. We did good.
Okay.
Good. I'm so proud of us. Well, thank you so much. You stick around for a little bit.
Okay.
For those of you, if you like this kind of content, don't forget to give this video a like. And absolutely, I know you guys will love our community because our community is amazing. If you have not heard already, one other thing I wanted to remind you guys of is that I have 30 days of my favorite leaf series. It started yesterday. August is almost one of my favorite months out of the year. My godmother, Olivia High, is turning 99 tomorrow. So I am celebrating her birthday this month. Happy birthday.
Yay.
And I have 30 days of my favorite leaf favorite leaf series. It is a short. I'm doing shorts. And so for each day, I'm going to show you the favorite leaf on that plant. So go check those out. I will have a link in the description of this video. So if no one else has said it to you today, have a great day. Bye.
Hi, everyone.